Welcome everybody back to the channel. Today we're going to go over part 2 of our business pricing blueprint. This is personally my favorite topic when it comes down to pricing because we get to see the ins and the outs. We're going to see how things are categorized and take a dive into what a cost is to a contractor, as well as a price that now we give to the homeowner. And there's some things that's really hidden within this chapter, within this part 2, that I want to share with you guys. They're almost bonuses, things to think about and things to operate your business because they've never been done before or they haven't been talked about. And you're going to see the way you grow your business, all is going to come down to this part when you understand your cost, when you understand your daily burden rate. Once you start understanding these pieces, you're going to say, oh my God, you're telling me I could have done ABC if I did XYZ. We're going to find that out tonight. Can't wait to share that with you all. We're on Instagram Live. We're also recording for YouTube. So if you guys jump to our YouTube channel, subscribe, you guys can see all of this information, all the value for you for free. And then if you guys want to jump into our network, if you want to jump into our community, the Build Association, we have a network of contractors all across the US from East Coast to West Coast, where we're getting to share some insights, share our SOPs, share our systems, meet our team, our VP, our COO, all in between, so we can share that information with you guys. So if you guys want to learn more information about that, head over to Build National on Instagram or just follow us here on Energize Us. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I have the comments reading on the left, just in case you guys have anything you want to jump in, add during the conversation. But today we're going to jump right in. We're in part 2 of our business pricing blueprint. And for everybody today, our objective, we want to understand the 3 components that make up your cost. And I know last live that we did, we talked about a little bit of that information. Do you guys, as a recap, do you guys understand or remember what were the 3 components that affect your cost as a business owner? Comment down below, let me hear it. I have 3 definitions up here. I need to label each definition. So if you guys remember the 3 off the top of your head, let me know. Or if you guys can read any of the definitions on the screen, let me know. I'm going to read it out to you guys. So I'm going to read them out, each one, and you let me know what that is when it comes to cost. The first one, it's the physical service needed to complete a task. Time and experience. What is that called? The second one, your physical items needed to complete a task. That was your second. And third, it's the fixed cost of running your business yearly. Do you remember the 3 main components that affect you as a contractor when it comes to your contracting cost? Comment down below. Let me read some of them. So we have some people jumping in. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. Once again, there's 3 components that you have to add up that make up the cost of you doing business. For example, if someone wants me to change out a light bulb, is it just the light bulb or it's what? Those are the 3 components we need to add together to create a cost. If you guys don't remember, just comment down below. We're going to read some of the comments. We have time, material, and overhead. That was from Montoyada. Very, very close. You hit 2 out of 3 of them. 2 out of 3 of them. Remember, the first definition you said was, physical service needed to complete a task. Time and experience is covered in this one cost. So what component of the cost is that referring to? Time is already included in that first category. Let me know, but you hit the second one and you hit the third one. So we have physical items needed to complete a task. That is material. So Montoyada, thank you. Material. And then the last one you mentioned of running your business annually. And that is overhead. So you guys are amazing. And the first one, does anybody remember that? It's the physical service needed to complete the task. The comments say, we have saludos, pleasure. We have labor rate, material, fixed cost. There we go. Reliance, thank you. Montellada, thank you for that backup. You guys are amazing. So when you guys, as business owners, before you even give the price to the customer, you have to understand what your cost is. What is it going to cost me to complete the work, then add my overhead to it to give that price to the customer, correct? That's the dance you have to understand. That's the dance, the relationship you have to know before you can even give prices out. So, what's included in those three components of your cost? Labor, material, overhead. Just as a recap, labor is the physical service needed to complete said task. Material, the physical items needed to complete said task. Overhead is the fixed cost of running your business yearly. Those are the three factors, the three components that you need to create your price and now give that to your customer. With that in mind, we're going to jump into story time. In my earlier days, as we mentioned from the last live, so many of us, when we come into contracting, we say, how much should we charge for this? How much should I charge for that? And so many of us just say, hey, charge $100 an hour. Or like the example we use with Punching Bag Ova, yesterday we talked about when he said, how much should I charge for overhead? Somebody literally said, just around 15%. Because some people add another 15 for profit margin. So that's your 30% markup usually on your margins. So then Ova goes, I've been charging 15. I've been charging 15. Or I've been charging 15. When I was younger, I started just doing 10-10. So I was doing 20 markup altogether, not knowing what my numbers really were. So yesterday, and not just trying to bring Ova up, but we literally wrote down his entire financial plan in literally an hour. We said, what are you generating in a year? Bang, bang, bang. What are you doing monthly? Bang, bang, bang. What is your cost to run your business monthly? Ba, ba, ba. So now we got his monthly cost, what it cost him, payroll, office stuff, as well as his cost of running his business, his markups, his overhead, and we went over all these in detail. So all these different things started calculating, and we found out that Ova was charging 15% on his overhead, and his numbers were around 9 to 12% overhead that we actually found out. But what we found out, not only was his 9 to 12, but he didn't add anything to his profit margins when it came to labor. So then we start recognizing, okay, we were charging over here, but we weren't charging here, which brought his total percentage down. That happens to so many people because the construction culture, once again, sets you up for failure. It sets you up to be a great employee. That's the sad truth about the construction culture. The construction culture does not set you up for failure. The construction culture sets you up for failure. It does not set you up for a path in entrepreneurship because it doesn't teach you the facts that you need to know to own and operate your own business. I love the construction industry. I love the construction culture. I love the business side of things. But sadly, the blue-collar industry does not set you up for success when it comes to owning and operating your own business. So with that in mind, so many of us go into contracting winging our numbers. What are some of those examples that you guys have in the field going on today? Do you guys happen to know your margins? Do you guys happen to understand cost? Comment down below, why are you charging that rate? Is it because you actually know, or is it because somebody told you that's the average way to go? Or be honest, do you go on Google and you just search up what's the hourly rate for this? Or what's the average price of this install? I want to know in the comments down below, what do you guys do, or what do you guys think? What are your examples on how you're coming up with your numbers? This is a safe space. This is where we're learning. So I can't tailor the conversation to you if I don't know what you guys are doing in the field. So comment down below, how are you coming up with your numbers? So once again, we're coming back to the three components needed for your cost. And we learned it's labor, material, overhead. Going back to some of the comments, Sergio saying true. Shocking Electrics, yeah. JJ, man, this is good. I appreciate JJ, especially your trust joining build. That truly means a lot. Cash me out. JJ, this is awesome. The most people don't want to share. So I want to give some examples. For example, we're going to throw Ova's 15%. He said, that's the industry standard. So many people go into the business thinking, let me just charge 15%. Some other people just go minimum $100 an hour, right? That's a good price. Remember, you're not just doing side work anymore. You're running a business, so charge $100. Awesome. What are other examples some people told you or that you heard or that you looked up online about running and operating a business? What I also love about, while you guys comment down below, what I truly appreciate about Build is not only are people just asking questions and giving answers, people are showing documentation. What I loved about today is we saw some individuals upload their contracts. People uploaded their contracts on what they're doing with customers, as well as seeing the terms and agreements that they're working with. Some people are commenting, hey, you should have done this. Hey, you should have added a payment schedule. There's so many of these little conversations happening within the Build Association that we want you guys to take advantage of. Everything that we're doing right now on Instagram Live and putting this up on YouTube is just to show you the value that we just know what we're talking about. If you guys really want to get into your business, if you guys really want to understand what your numbers are going to be, if you truly want to understand how your business is operating, feel free to join Build Association. On IG, it's Build National. If you guys have any questions, concerns, comment anybody down in the comments who is already part of the team, and we'll more than welcome love to show you exactly of what we have planned for each and every one of you guys. So many people are saying, bought an estimating 24 book and tracked previously jobs and how long it should take, and added 10 to 20% on burden rate for labor. 10 to 20% after reading some books. 10 to 20%, so over smack in the middle. You're doing the same thing based off of your books. Your books are telling you 10 to 20%. But once again, nobody is taking the time to sit down and calculate everything. Books online are just telling you a range. The range may be true, but the more fine comb you go through your numbers, the time you take to understand what truly goes in as a cost to you, and then you make that a percentage of what you have to charge other people, you're going to blow everybody away. Because when you know your numbers, you understand your wiggle room. You understand when to be competitive, when not to be competitive. You understand if something's going to be a septic tank, that you're stuck in it, you know how you're going to have to upcharge on those types of jobs. All of this starts with the foundation, the fundamentals. You truly have to understand your numbers so that you can give a proper estimate, so you can give a proper price for a job. If you just wing your prices and then you just do a job and then you lower it a little, you don't know if you're below your daily burden rate. All of these stuff is going to come into play. But I'm trying to stress the fact where just understand what you need as a business owner to stay in business. Once you know that number, you're already ahead of the curve. All these guys who are reading books that say just go on average 10 to 20. No, I don't want to know on average. What do you need as a contractor? Let's see. Whoa, some comments. We got truck charge. Yeah, I'm telling JJ, Baba. Truck charge. That comes under, we're going to talk about truck charges and all those different things. My rates are different depending on the type of service. Correct. How do you guys figure out overhead costs? We're going to jump into that crazy dude. I used RS Means Assembly's cost book and factored the regional cost. Nice, Serge. I like that. I took all my overhead, divided into the working hours, got 10% to cover my overhead only. Ova, you can see from Michael Stellman. You and Michael Stellman are on the same spot on example of what your overhead was yesterday. True or not, Ova? You saw, you and Stellman both at 10%. Perfect. So you see, just by running your numbers, people were telling you 15. Now, could that 15 were like, ooh, extra 5%? Of course. But then you took that 5% and you were banking on it on overhead when you didn't even have that extra 5% on profit, and that's where you were losing, right? Because you spend more on man hours than the fixed cost. So these are examples why you should truly understand your numbers so you now have a leg to stand on. You know how to battle. You know the wiggle room that you have. How do you guys figure out true overhead cost? Crazy dude, there's so many different ways to understand overhead costs. Today we're going to touch on it, but next week we talk, next live on Tuesday, we're going over the different categories in overhead. Today we're going to give you a bonus one that you guys don't even know about that's hidden, because guess what? This overhead is actually going to now help you grow your business. So many people don't even recognize this trick. This tip that I'm about to hit you is about to hit this tip that I'm about to share with you guys is going to knock it out the park, because this hidden overhead expense is what's holding you back from scaling your business. And we're going to go over that tonight. But next live, we're going to go into details on every single type of categories, every type of example that you need for your overhead. Let's say I am preparing to launch my own electrical company. Crazy dude, I would love to work with you. Once again, on our Build Association, we have 3 individuals who are starting their company within the next 12 months. So if you need any assistance, feel free to reach out. Once again, we only want to work with people in Build who are getting ready to start their business actively, or they're already in business. We don't want to just have anybody in the association where they're thinking about their business and they're not committing. Because even though we're giving you value, it's just going to sit on the shelf. So if you're not ready to take that step, then Build Association probably won't be for you, but feel free to look at all our YouTube channels. If you're willing to make that jump within the next 6 to 12 months, we're here to run with you guys. You got the community, you got everybody backing you up. Like insurance, exactly, and stuff, cell phones, office rent, exactly. You guys are giving amazing examples of what overhead is. So let's write some of those down. Overhead, because yesterday we went over different examples of overhead and examples, right? And Ova's like, oh, my overhead's this much. And I'm like, what the hell, dude? That's just rent. And then I said, what about this? What about that? Oh, yeah, that's true. So once again, there's so many hidden things, hidden fees, not fees, hidden opportunities that you guys have to throw into overhead that's going to help you grow your business. Because now if you had phone, internet, all in your shop on rent, and then also not a tax expert, but you get your tax, your CPA, your bookkeepers to now help you with this fine combing. Remember, if you're working for home, you can get a percentage. If you're working on with your cell phone, you can get a percentage. All those different things are expenditures that you're using for your business. Want to talk to a tax expert for that? But those are different opportunities that you are missing out, that you actually recoup some of the stuff that you're already spending so much in. So you got rent, you got utilities, you got trucks, insurance, right, etc. Overhead is basically keeping the lights on. So today I looked up the National Association of Home Builders. I looked up Jobber Insights. I also looked up QuickBooks. And they gave me a crazy statistic that 40 to 60% of contractors do not understand their numbers, do not understand the basics of financial literacy when it comes to owning and operating your own blue-collar industry, company, contracting, whatever it may be. Within the blue-collar industry, us as contractors, 40 to 60% of us do not understand our numbers. And we're relying on Google to tell you how much you're worth. We're relying on Google to tell you how much you should charge somebody. That's why I say, and I can't stress this enough, as much as I love the electrical industry, as much as I love the contracting industry, let me try it again that's a clip, right? As much as I love the construction industry, sadly, the construction industry is setting you up for failure in the sense where it does not train you to be an entrepreneur. It does not tell you how to be a successful business person. As much as I love the construction industry, it's setting you up for failure in the sense where it's not giving you the knowledge that you need to become a successful entrepreneur or business person. Our statistics show Jobber Insights, QuickBooks, National Association of Home Builders are all telling us that from 40 to 60% of contractors do not understand their numbers. That is a big group. That's more than half of everybody within the industry is just winging this. Do you understand how dangerous that is? Remind us, do you guys remember 3 weeks ago we talked about how many contracting companies go out of business within 5 years? 63%. I guarantee you, For the majority of those 63% didn't know their numbers. Is it coincidence that 40 to 60% don't know their numbers, and then after 5 years, 63% are out of business? I want to do some research on that. Give me the data. It's all saying a lot of these people who come into the construction industry, contracting, are winging it. We got to fix that. That's why these lessons that we're hosting every week are just the fundamentals. It's just to get the ground wet. Just so you guys can understand, hey, let me ask this question. Hey, let me calculate this stuff. Hey, let me see some numbers so that you can develop your own plan. So you can now give the proper price and not just say, because someone else said this is how much it's worth. You have to understand your own margins so you know how much wiggle room you have in your business. What do you mean by truck payments or yearly? I'm part of the stock. I don't want to be the one of those 40, 60%, which is why I joined Build. I appreciate you guys. Winging it was my first 8, total nightmare. I appreciate each and every one of you. All these guys who are commenting happen to be on Build because they're sharing their experiences. And guess what? The earlier you come, the earlier you start understanding this, the better everything's going to be. The better it's going to be. Imagine starting your business and understanding this. Even 6 months before you begin. You know how far ahead of the curve you're going to be? I truly, truly, truly welcome anybody. If you're going to start a business within 6 to 12 months, feel free to jump to our YouTube channel. If you see any value at all, send us a message. We're here to help you. But did you know 40 to 60% of contractors struggle with understanding your numbers, your margins, your margins. That is a scary, scary demographic. That's a scary, scary percentage because we already learned that within 5 years, 63% of businesses end up closing down. So the baseline, we want to understand what's our cost. We know our cost is labor, material, and overhead. As we mentioned next week, this marker's all out. So as we mentioned next week, we are going to take a dive into what is exactly overhead. But one thing that I really wanted to stress, oh, it's right down there.
Is it this?
No, that's a Sharpie. Right there behind you. You see on the board, I have the blue, red.
Yeah.
Sweet. So as a bonus today, I wanted to share something with you. And just like we looked at the statistics from Jobber. So in the statistics from Jobber, statistics from National Association of Home Builders, and QuickBooks, who worked side by side, multiple blue collar individual, we learned that 40 to 60% don't understand their numbers. So with that being said, we have so many individuals who are just winging things. There is something in this overhead that is holding you guys coming back from scaling your business or taking your business at least to that next step. For example, if you guys are listening right now, tell me some examples of labor costs. What is a labor cost for you as a contractor? Damn it.
Let me try another one. Let's grab all of them.
Yeah. So 2 markers out. So last week the lights were losing. We were losing lights. This week, no markers are working. But if you guys are listening and you guys are following along, give me some examples of what a labor cost is.
Christmas up in here with
Right? What are examples of labor cost?
Getting festive.
Right? Let's see. Wing differ, my first shit. I'm lucky I'm not dead. Fish in the water. No, you guys are going to survive. You guys are going to survive because we're having these conversations. Just the fact that we're having these conversations is going to get your mind rolling. So even if you don't join Build, even if you do your own thing, the simple fact that we're having these conversations is opening you up to different possibilities. Do the research yourself. Look at your own numbers. If you need assistance, that's where we're here. But I give it to you guys, for everyone who's jumping into contracting already, you already took the biggest step. Let's grow together. Let's push you guys further. That's why we're here. But I want some example of costs. Give me some labor examples. What is labor? What are you charging for? Why does it cost you money for labor? Who are we talking about in labor? Let's see. So for labor, we know that's the physical service, right? So it's your employees, correct? Would you say it's your employees?
Employee pay.
Employee pay. Perfect. I got a question for you. My crew. Payroll. Awesome. I got a genuine question for you. Here's the first nugget. This one example of understanding your numbers will blow you away. Let me get ready for a clip, a beat clip. How do I get a hook for that? I'm trying to think.
You just did it.
I don't think that was like hooky enough, you know.
If you don't do this, something will happen.
Oh yeah. This one tip changed my business. I'm trying to get a hook for that. So if you guys are trying to follow along on
We're also
Instagram,
filming a YouTube video.
yeah, we're filming on YouTube video, so I'm trying to get a hook going. But let me see. This one tip is why you can't scale your business. All right, does that make sense? This one is holding you back from scaling. All right, cool. So basically, when I understood what each one of these things was, after you do your research, after you start getting people to help you understand these different types of costs, the examples of them, when you start going down, you start understanding what could you start categorizing. What is labor? What is material? What is truly overhead? This one tip is exactly what's holding so many people back. Now, if you skip this one tip, yeah. So if you guys are over here, and guess what? If you have an employee starting off as a one-man crew, awesome, crazy. So if you guys are starting off and you have crews doing work, you know that's part of your cost. If my guy shows up and he's $20 an hour, I got to pay out of pocket $20 an hour on top of payroll expenditures, correct? So that's a labor cost. But what's so interesting, as you start doing your research, this one tip totally changed my contracting career. And here's why. And so many people think employees fall under labor cost. Did you know that there are some employees that do not fall under labor? Let me say that again. So many contracting companies categorize all their employees as a labor cost. Did you know that there are some employees that you can have or that you project on having can fall under a different category? Did you guys know that, for example, if you guys have an office manager does not fall under labor. Office manager falls under overhead. Did you guys happen to know that? Because what's the definition of overhead? It's the fixed cost of running your business, your contracting company. What's the definition of overhead? It's your fixed cost of running your business annually. A fixed cost. If you want an office manager, if you want to start growing your business or hire somebody, or if you have one, an office manager falls under administrative services, which is under overhead. So if you genuinely are looking to grow your business and you say, I eventually want an office manager, I'm using my wife right now, it's not going as smooth as I thought, I'm spending a lot of time training her, or she doesn't learn and she's messing up the books. If you guys are projecting to hire an office manager, that office manager and her admin services that you have fall under your overhead of a business. So what does that mean for you? That means if you want an office manager, or if you currently have one, all those expenses that go into her or him, or that third-party service that you're hiring, some guys from the Philippines running your books, all of that's overhead. And if you don't have somebody, you can genuinely now add those prices of how much it would cost. Remember, you already know the estimated cost of an office manager. So if you have to add $50K a year, add that $50K to your yearly revenue, divide it, and now you can know your percentage or how much extra you have to charge. So then you start charging, and now you have the liquid funds to hire your admin services. That is something so many people do not understand. Correct. Soft costs. Yep. Stillman. Yep. You see? Over. Office managers fall under here. Overhead. Labor, the service of the job, the physical service to complete the needed task, remember, is the labor. So your office manager is down here under overhead, but to complete the task, this is what you're going to now bill to the customer based off of how much time, how much material, and then this overall cost. So if you're looking to grow your business, if you're genuinely looking to make some moves and now hire an office manager, because a lot of people, that's their first dilemma. When they start in business and they're by themselves, they have three options. Do I hire an apprentice or a journey person? Do I buy a new truck or vehicle? Or do I hire an office manager? Because you're understanding you want to buy your time back. Do you want to buy your time back on the field? Do you want to buy it with trucks so everything's easier, you're moving better? Or do you want someone in the office to now handle all the emails, calls that are coming in? So when you come to that position, you start learning, hey, who should I hire next? These are some things you want to keep in mind. If you're looking for an office manager, start charging the rates of you already having an office manager. So when they come in, she's already self-sufficient. The money's already there, and it doesn't take away from the labor of the guys, or you don't have enough work to keep everybody. If you bill it properly, if you understand your numbers properly, that office manager, she's paying herself. Just like the guys. What's different about her or him compared to the labor, you need work for your crew to complete, and then you get paid. If you run your numbers properly, the office manager is paying themselves because they are tasked with keeping the operations of the business flowing. So if you have enough work and you understand your numbers, your overhead, and you're including your overhead in all your prices, the guys now have work because the office manager is fueling them. So you're basically, if you understand your numbers correctly, you are creating your own ecosystem. Because guess what? When you understand your numbers properly, when you truly understand what's going on when it comes to cost and price to your customer, if your office staff or yourself included as the business and owner operator, if you're not in the field, you should have also overhead for yourself covering your expenditures, okay? If you're in the field, that's when you have to divide from field time and office time. But in the beginning, when we're wearing many hats, we're just charging a number out because we don't know. We're just saying, $150 an hour because you're wearing everything. But when you start structuring your company, when you start systemizing everything, when you start doing your research on what you're actually costing, your daily burden rate, once you start understanding the game, you have your own ecosystem because your office manager gets the new jobs, they schedule the jobs, they send it to you to complete the job. After you complete the job, if you understand your numbers over here, you add it to the bill. So now the office manager is literally paying themselves. And if they're doing their job properly and pricing everything, then the labor guys are genuinely paying themselves. And now you have an ecosystem of success. And then you get your material, you mark up your material, so you're making profit off of here because you're a part of overhead. You're getting profit on your markup, which is on the material, and then your labor, you're getting the profit off your guys for sending them out on the crew. You have three different opportunities to now make that profit margin back. But if you only guess on this, you guess on your numbers because it's just the industry standard, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because if one of these goes and there's not enough work, the most expensive thing is having your guys show up to work and no work. Or hey, clean the shop. How many times can you clean the shop before it starts hurting your pocket? Your office manager, so many people hire an office manager and they go, oh my God, I don't have enough work for her. But guess what? The second you lose an office manager, you start feeling it because I'm tired when the phone rings. I don't want to pick that thing up. I don't want to send out the emails. All these things only work when you know your numbers. If you have bad numbers, if you're winging your numbers, you're not going to win your jobs. If you don't win your jobs, you're not going to have a workforce. If you don't know your numbers, this admin services is going to start getting costly. And you're going to see, if you don't understand your numbers at the base level, you're now going to be a ticking time bomb. You're throwing money out the window. It may be fun, it may be nice for a month or two, but once nobody has work and they're still clocking in the back of your head, you're like, something doesn't feel right. That's why understanding your numbers, that's why understanding your daily burden rate is so important. So when you know your daily burden rate, if you know today I need to make $1,000 just to keep the lights on. And then you know, okay, how much does it cost me to do this job, to do this task for a customer? Now you have your price that you give and they pay, and then you create your own ecosystem over here. That is why understanding your numbers are so important. A receptionist, office manager, whatever you want to call them, they are going to be a golden ticket for you in the sense where that they are going to be self-sufficient. If you have your numbers done properly, admin services is going to cover themselves because that's under overhead. If you just do the bare minimum just to keep your daily burden rate on, they're going to be paying themselves. But if you don't have your numbers right and you don't get work, you got to lay your guys off. If you do this right, you create your own ecosystem. Okay, guys? Right here. Ecosystem. And when you create an ecosystem, that's when you have movement. That's when you get to buy your time back. Especially now when you have systems where she gets to check or he gets to check the work. They funnel it and now you make that now flow smoothly. You get to remove yourself. You have now a nice opportunity to buy back your time, work on different ventures or work on scaling your business in different capacities or hiring somebody to now handle all of this stuff. You are creating your own ecosystem of success. And all that comes from understanding your numbers. Because if you are too cheap over here, if you're part of the 40 to 60% over here who don't understand their numbers, and yes, with enough volume you can keep busy, but eventually these admin service, the office managers, is going to be a well. You're throwing money out the window and you're going to be like, something's not making sense. We got work, but I don't have profit. Because the profit that you thought you had is now going to admin service, so now you start suffering. Then eventually the work dries up, and then now your labor force, or vice versa, you get too much work, your guys start working longer hours, now you think you're gonna make more money, but you're actually losing because you're underbidding. All of this stuff is the basis of success if you know your numbers, if you know what your cost is, if you know what your daily burden is, your overhead, and all of that combined together will let you understand what price to give to the customer. Thank you everybody for joining us today. If you found any value in this video, please comment down below. Please subscribe. Please comment if you have any suggestions, any other topics you want to hear about. And once again, these are conversations that we're having every day on Build Association. We're having these conversations with industry experts, with other contractors throughout the US from coast to coast, showing not only just our experiences, but showing documentations, we're showing our contracts, we're showing our prices, our markups. All of this stuff is happening in our community. If you want to be a part of that, send us a message privately. We're here to help you guys. But thank you everybody. Join us next one for part 3 on our Builders Pricing Blueprint. If you guys have any questions on tonight, or if you guys want to jump on live, we're going to cut it on YouTube, but if you guys have any questions that you want to jump on here to explain it a little bit better, next week we're going to start talking about overhead, different examples of overhead. We already talked about a good one, admin services. Next week we're going to talk about more examples on how we can develop our own price and now give that overhead price with the cost, because labor is pretty easy. Overhead is understanding that so we can give the price so we can start winning those jobs. Thank you guys.